I'm just going to read the verses and then I'm going to expand upon them afterwards, inshallah. Think about the order for yourself. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Where will you be? Insha'Allah, ala sururim mawduna. They will be seated on gold encrusted couches. Now, first and foremost, Ahlulbayt alayhimussalam state, many ahadith, that when you come across a verse of the Quran talking to you about hellfire, warning you of hellfire, what are you supposed to do? Stop and say, may Allah protect me from that punishment that is being mentioned. And when you come across a verse of Jannah, Imam as-Sadiq alayhi salam in the hadith says, stop at it, ask Allah, oh Allah, give me that reward for myself. This is a statement from Imam, very famous hadith. So all of you, inshallah, when you read Quran, maybe we don't realize there is even a sunnah to reading the Quran. Inshallah, we will come to this. There's a sunnah to even read the Quran, huh? So now we've read this ayah, ala sururin mawduna. What are you supposed to do? Oh Allah, make it that we are able to be sitting on those kinds of couches that have been mentioned. Ya Allah. What will you be doing? Muttaki'ina alayha mutaqabilin. Reclining on them face to face. Meaning what? Are you going to be on your own here in Jannah? No, you're going to be with people in Jannah, inshaAllah. Oh Allah, make it that I am sitting with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Oh Allah, make it that I'm sitting with Aba Abdullah al-Hussein. Oh Allah, make it that I'm sitting with my mother and my father. Oh Allah, make it that I'm sitting with my brother and my sister and my wife. And you see, muttaki'ina alayha mutaqabilin. What else will be happening? يَطُوفُ عَلَيْهِمْ وِلْدَانٌ مُخَلَّدُونَ. Immortal youths, pearl boys, will be going about you, serving you, looking after whatever you need. Whatever your deepest requirement is, they will be serving every single thing that you want. I remember once someone asked me, what do you want in Jannah, inshaAllah? And I remember I was a lot younger, and I said, I would like a five-a-side football game with Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam. So I want, it's me, the Prophet, Imam Ali alayhi salam, Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein alayhi salam. That's our five. And then inshallah it will be the other imam. So you go all the way. The next ones it will be the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, the eighth imam. And then from the ninth to the 12th, and I think Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam makes up the other. So it's a five-a-side knockout competition. Yeah. But then they say, what do you mean? How's that going to work? You know, the moment one of the imams comes to try to score against the Prophet is going to, he's such a generous human. Please, Faddal, go ahead and score. And now the imam, how can I score against my grandfather? So what is heaven going to be like? What do you want? What do you want from this heaven? Allah Jalla Jalaluhu is saying to you, these servants of yours, the good deeds that you did, they're manifesting into servants for you. يَطُوفُ عَلَيْهِمْ. They're going to be going around you, working hard. وِلْدَانٌ مُخَلَّدُونَ. They're going to be these immortal youths that are going to be at your every beck and call. What's going to be happening? بِأَكْوَابٍ وَأَبَارِيقَ وَكَأْسٍ مِّن Ma'in. They will have goblets and cups filled with drinks from a running spring. وَفَاكِهَةٍ مِّمَّا يَتَخَيَّرُونَ. They will go about with them with fruits of which you will have choice over whatever fruits that you want. وَلَحْمٍ طَيْرٍ مِّمَّا يَشْتَهُونَ. And with flesh of any type of animal that you may desire to be able to eat from. This is the scene that Allah Jalla Jalaluhu is creating for you. Now, what we have to remember is that there are an abundant number of sunnah of Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam that expand upon this. The first thing the ayah says, you will be ala sururim mawduna. So you will be sitting on these beautiful couches, these beautiful gold-studded couches. The sunnah of Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam tells us that we are supposed to sit in a particular way when it comes to participating in a meal. This hadith comes to us from Ibrahim ibn Abbas, who said about our eighth Imam, Ali ibn Musa al-Rida, salawatullah wa salamuhu alayh. I have never seen Abu al-Hasan al-Rida, alayhi salam, hurt anybody with something he said, nor have I ever seen him interrupt anyone until he had finished, nor have I ever seen him refuse someone a favor when he was able to do it, nor did I see him stretch out his legs in front of someone when sitting with them, nor lean against something that his own companion did not have available to lean against, nor did I see him ever insult one of his workers. I have never seen him spit or burst into laughter. Rather, when he laughed, it was just a balanced chuckle and smile. When he was ready to eat at the table that had been laid out for him, he seated with him at the table all of his servants, including even the person who would open the door for him and his stable boy who would look after his horse. Can you see? There's a sunnah here of how you sit with people. Even the great prophets spoke about this. Luqman alayhi salam has a hadith where he actually tells his son, Luqman, the wise, tells his son, he's bringing up his son. He says, "Oh my son, be discerning of the gatherings that you sit in. Not every gathering is worth of your time. If you go to a gathering and you find therein there is the remembrance of Allah, then you join in and sit in it. Why? My son, if you have knowledge, your knowledge will become of benefit in a gathering where Allah is being mentioned. And if you are ignorant, by virtue of that gathering, your ignorance will be removed. But oh my son, if this gathering is one where Allah is completely forgotten and there is nothing going on to remember Allah, if you come with your knowledge won't benefit you, nor will it actually benefit them. They won't want to hear it from you because they're too engrossed in wasting their time. They will shun you, they will laugh at you, they will have something against you in their hearts. And if you have ignorance in you, my son, by virtue of what they are doing, your ignorance will come out even further. They would exploit the ignorances, the weaknesses, the deficiencies within you. This is the advice from Luqman alayhi salam to his son. So number one, the ayah said that we will be ala sururin mawdhuna. We will be, inshallah, sitting on gold encrusted couches, muttaki'ina alayha mutaqabilin, reclining on them, sitting face to face, one and in front of another. According to the ahadith of Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam, it is makruh for us to be able to eat on our own. And it is highly mustahab for us to be able to eat with people and share in food. Imam Ali alayhi salam is a hadith where he said, the most blessed of food is the one that has met the most number of hands. It is makruh for you to eat on your own. Wait, unless you have to. You know, sometimes you come home late from work, it's only you. Fine, I understand there are circumstances. The principle is always try to share your food with somebody. That food is actually a social thing. Now, this is very important, and I'm going to address my youth here especially, and myself, for I am the first to have to deal with this problem in myself. In the way in which we live in the Western societies, we have developed a big problem when we eat, and that is that we either eat with the TV on or with our phones. True? We sit staring, watching phones. We sit staring, watching TV. In Islam, the sunnah is to be face to face, speaking, talking, learning, enjoying with each other. The Western sunnah is to be glued to this box. And I'm telling you that there are so many studies done on specifically the damage to individual health and familial health of eating food, eating your lunch or dinner whilst watching the TV. I will send you as many as you want, whatever you are. When I talk to you about these scientific studies, it's because I have them available. I've read them and I've been studying them. I'll give you one. There is a particular type of chemical that is released in the stomach to tell you when you are full up. This is very important. There's a chemical that is released in the gut that tells you, oof, I'm done. Now, the issue with this is that this chemical that's released in the stomach, it takes sometimes 15, 20 minutes for it to be released. Because when we eat, there's a process, isn't it? The digestion has to start. And then once it starts, then we can start seeing the food digesting into the body. And then, of course, other processes start happening in the brain. It's not an immediate action, is it? It takes some time. There's a delay reaction, 15, 20, 25 minutes, depending on the rate in which every individual eats at. Now, think about this very carefully. If you're used to just eating, second helping, eating, third helping, eating, I'm done, I'm going to fall over. By the time you have filled up your stomach, it is still not yet the chemical that has been released to tell you you're full up. So you think you're hungry and you go on gorging, whilst actually your body is full. Imam al-Kadhim alayhi salam has a hadith where he says, the fountainhead of all illnesses to the body is when you overeat and fill your stomach more than it can handle. The fountainhead of all diseases. This is why famously, the Prophet is narrated to have said, divide your stomach into 3. 1/3 for food, 1/3 for drink, 1/3 for air, space. SubhanAllah, look how the Prophet was telling us 1400 years ago. Science is now telling us that you will gorge, you will continue eating, you will be full, but you won't realize it and you'll continue to eat and eat and eat. And that's why we end up just slouching and falling asleep. This is the fountainhead of all bodily diseases. The study says, the scientific study suggests, that when we are watching TV, what's happening in our brain is dopamine is being released. We're happy. We're just eating, dopamine is being released. And so actually the balance between dopamine and that chemical that is supposed to tell you when you're full, there's now an imbalance. It takes even longer for those receptors to tell you that you are full because your concentration, the dopamine in your brain, is being focused not on the release of food into your body, but the dopamine is being released by the film that you're watching, by the series that you're watching. Let alone all of the family issues that we're not talking to each other. We don't get to see one another. We don't get to learn how each and every one's day is, what we're having to deal with, what we're learning from each other. Look at what the ayah said. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that the way in which you should be is مُتَّكِئِينَ عَلَيْهَا مُتَقَابِلِينَ. Sit with each other face to face and be talking and engaged with one another, not engaged on that satanic box. يَطُوفُ عَلَيْهِمْ وِلْدَانٌ مُخَلَّدُونَ. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ahlulbayt alayhim as-salam, have gifted to us a number of different sunnah. And I'll just be brief, and I'd like you to note these down inshallah if you can. Just note them down, even if you wrote them down in English, even if you remember them, you can go back to the lecture tomorrow and find it. The first thing is that when the table is spread out, when you first come and you see the table or you are laying out the table, there is a dua for you to recite. Many dua, but I'll just mention one. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is being praised here. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wa alihi, when he would spread out the table, when he would see the table being spread, Bismillahi Allahumma ij'alha ni'matan mashkuratan tasilu biha ni'matal Jannah. In the name of Allah, make it an appreciated blessing by means of which the bounties of paradise are attained. This is the dua, one of the dua that is mentioned that you're supposed to say when you lay out the table. After that, when we sit down, what is the first thing that we are recommended to be able to take? A pinch of salt. Ahlulbayt alayhim as-salam have the narration where they say, a pinch of salt at the beginning and the end of the meal does away with 70 diseases of the stomach.